Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel Clicks to Reels. This is Neeraj and thank you so much for staying with me throughout the series of this Lightroom mobile editing tutorials. Today we are going to look at something called as a mask, which is also called as luminance range. Okay, so I'm gonna start my phone video so that you can start watching. So the importance of this luminance range is, this is how I use it, is it gives a kind of a hazy, a smoky kind of a look. That is how I use it to create, but I'll show you exactly what I wanted to say. So if you let's go back to this kingfisher image and see on the background, you see there's slightly blur, but it looks very clear, right? So what I want to create in this composition is more kind of a blurry, more kind of an hazy look. More looks like as if this kingfisher is in the clouds, or there's a lot of smoke behind it, or it's really that it's like a foggy look, right? How do you create fog or something like that? So let's look at it. We can change different things around. So let's go to our masking uh, menu, and these are all the different things that we had created. I'm not going to change anything. I already have a background mask that is created, so I'm going to create a new mask which is called as luminance range. So if I choose luminance range, it by default selects the entire picture, and although I don't want to create it everywhere, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to slightly slide this slider to the left, and maybe, I don't want to create that haze everywhere. So let's say I want to create it here, okay, or and I can even move this slider to the right and also reduce it here, right? So let's say I want to I don't want the kingfisher, and I'm just going to be hit apply, but let's say I don't want it to be on the kingfisher, right? So I'm going to subtract the kingfisher from this mask using the subtract mask, and I'm going to choose the brush. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit and just kind of rub it around the kingfisher, like I'm just basically rubbing it around the kingfisher so that I remove that kingfisher from that luminance range mask. So now if you see here, I'm just actually still rubbing it to make sure that I have it right. Okay, so I have that mask, and I just want to go back to the image and kind of I want us to look at. So this is the image. Now just pay attention to the back of it. Okay, so we are going to create that fog, a mist, or whatever you may want to smoke, whatever you may want to call it, depending on. So now this is our mask, and if I go to that mask's effects, right, I'm going to slightly reduce the clarity. Now remember, this clarity that I am reducing is of the mask that we created for the luminance range only, right? So I've reduced the clarity of it. I'm gonna reduce the texture, the texture a little bit also. So now if you see, there's slight more blurriness to that, and now I'm going to reduce this this dehaze slightly less. So now do you see that slight foggish kind of an effect created? So now So now what has happened is there are these black areas that you see. I don't want that because I don't know why they got created. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my mask that I created, and I'm going to select that that kind of a dropper option, right? And then I'm going to choose this, and if you see that black, those dots, I'm gonna choose this option here. So now I see where that haziness didn't get affected is all these black areas. And then if you remember, we kind of masked out the kingfisher also. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to slide this a little bit, so just to get rid of that black portion. But if you see that, because I got rid of the kingfisher, it didn't really get affected. So now I have a solid background without the kingfisher selected. And now I'm going to hit apply, and I'm going to say yes. So now if you see, there is more haze everywhere. So now if I want to increase that haze, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go again to effects, and I'm going to decrease that again. So now if you see, there's a lot of white, there's a lot of haze created. So now what I can also do is slightly play with the texture to make it slightly more sharper a little bit, and then also kind of reduce or increase the clarity more, come towards zero. The other thing that I would want to do is I want to make it slightly more less exposed so that it looks more hazy. Like, so I'm going to decrease the exposure. Again, I'm doing it only for this mask, and I'm going to also increase the contrast to make it more look. So do you see this pop on the kingfisher now? All of a sudden it looks more uh, attractive, or it's more highlighted. That's because you created that mask behind, right? So now if you see the before and the after, I think I really like this luminance range. Especially it's really useful when you create these nature pictures, especially like on water. There are trees, and then you want to create some mist around it, some cloud. Then there's a mountain, you want some mist around it. I think it's an important tool for us to use, but you have to remember that the composition is important. You have to decide upfront before you start editing how you want your picture to look. Because if you see the basic picture, I mean, it's just what you see. But if you want to create that effect, this is where Lightroom comes into play. You want to create that image how you think it should have been in reality. You have to use all these different tools within Lightroom and create it. But I hope you liked this effect, and let me know in the comments if you play around with it. And of course, always keep watching my channel, and I'll come up with something new and exciting in Lightroom Mobile editing series. Until next time, thank you so much.